Francisco Carbajal is the, what do you call yourself, the program manager? Actually, why don't you introduce yourself? He's the program manager and lead facilitator, I just found out, of the Restorative Conferencing Center, and he's going to show a brief video.
It's going to be a little presentation.
Oh, it's going to be a presentation. Okay, terrific. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Francisco Carbajal.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Francisco Carbajal. I get really nervous, especially when I'm holding mics. Usually I'm pretty loud and can make it happen like this. But something really quick about myself is I was born here, raised in Tijuana for my first about 11 years. After the floods in 1993 down there, the El Nino, we worked closely, my grandma and my mother, who's here, worked closely with a Catholic outreach program in Rancho Peñasquito. So they came to our rescue and kind of brought us back up after our community got destroyed. And after that, you know, I took part of the bad and the good the community had to offer for about 8 years of that after I graduated high school. And then I decided to work a little bit on my plan B. My plan A was to be a musician. I traveled, I toured. Believe it or not, I had a 15-inch mohawk, colored all different colors. My mom helped me though. And instead of telling me, you know, don't do it, she would do it once in a while just to be the mother, right? Just say, ay, mijo. And then, but she would actually give me ideas. So the best way to put up your hair in the mohawk is actually using simple Aquanet and the hair blower. So, but anyways, after that, you know, I decided that I needed to maybe pursue a little bit of college. So I decided to go to San Diego State University. And originally I was going to go to and do poli-sci, maybe criminal justice. But I didn't, even though I'm wearing a suit and tie right now, it wasn't me, right? So I discovered international security and conflict resolution at San Diego State. So I encourage you guys all to learn about that program at SDSU when you guys are having conversations with youth, with potential college students, no matter what age. Tell them a bit about international security and conflict resolution because it's ADR, alternative dispute resolution, right? It's about having conversations, giving the people a voice, the community a voice, right? Not just the person harmed or the youth responsible, but restorative community conferencing is the program, so giving the community a voice. So that's just a little bit about myself. I'm going to go really quick into, so I want to thank the diocese. Jim, thank you so much for inviting us over. And like Jim explained about Bridget Lambert, she is a restorative angel. Okay, so where's Bridget? There she is again. Best lady ever over there. And my family, community, everybody, welcome. Restorative justice in San Diego is happening. You've heard it. It's beautiful. And through the National Conflict Resolution Center, we're able to have the impact not just with the person harmed and the youth responsible, but to include the community as a whole. Because us as facilitators, maybe as mentors, we can't do it on our own, right? We need the help of the community. How many of you guys have heard that it takes a village to raise a child, right? So we put that into the restorative justice with the program in San Diego, right? Somebody had asked about the underlying issues also that are going on with the youth responsible and the person harmed. We look at that. So we go into the community to find the programs that are best suited for all the needs. So just a little bit, of course, you guys already know experts, right? You guys are all experts at restorative justice. Just a little bit now into the community aspect, right? So right here you see the offender victim. Something that we're doing differently with National Conflict Resolution Center is that we're changing the language a little bit, all right? It's no longer an offender, right? Youth responsible. And then also the victim, person harmed, right? We want to keep saying harm, right? Because there is a harm. We want to center restorative justice around a harm, right? And then of course the community. So that's including the community, the teachers, the school police, you know, our mentors, just the community voice of the strength. How many of you out there love football, baseball, golf? How many punk rockers know or have sons or daughters who are punk rockers? Come on. Yeah, okay, there we go. All right. So what we do is that in the community aspect, we look at the strengths of the youth, right? If they're How many skateboarders? How many, okay, cool. So we look at that too. If the strength, we look at the strength, not just so much of the weaknesses of the youth responsible, right? So if they're skateboarders, we look into a community member that loves skating, maybe get a professional skateboarder in there, right? So that way they can have that voice, the wisdom, share that wisdom, the knowledge and experience, right? To become that professional skateboarder without having to go through the system. So as we talked about earlier, it's changing that language, changing the lenses. We see retributive, which is punishment, right? Who did it? What rules and laws have been broken? What punishment should be given to the offender, right? Restorative, who has been impacted? What are the harms and needs? What needs to be done to repair the harm? Completely different, right? It's giving a voice to the person harmed as well, right? Because that shows a lot. And it's sometimes the eye-opener for the youth responsible. Thank you. So there's the criminal justice system, right? How does that look for you guys? Well, believe it or not, we actually have the probation one. I don't have it with me, and it takes 2 slides, and it's way more. There's way more. So this is a condensed. This is where restorative justice can get involved, right here. How many of you guys have committed a crime or know of somebody who has committed a crime? Be real. Me. Right? How was that? Shout it out loud. How was that experience? Horrible. What was that? Humiliating. Re-traumatizing almost in a way, right? Right. So this is where we want to grab those cases. And that's where we're grabbing those cases right now. We're getting those cases. And we'll talk about that really quick. And also, we have a wonderful panel right here of experienced restorative justice participants. Our program is called Restorative Community Conferencing Pilot Program in City Heights, has extended now to Southeast. We've opened a center in Southeast recently. And also we have taken cases from Lemon Grove and Spring Valley, Logan, through the cooperation of the Sheriff's Department now too. So really quick, if you guys have not seen it yet, I'm sure a couple of us have. This is District Attorney Bonnie Dumanis explaining the program really quick. She does it really quick and better than I could. That would take about an hour.
Today we're announcing the encouraging results of a pilot project in City Heights that's helping keep juveniles out of the criminal justice system. It's called City Heights Restorative Community Conference Pilot Project. Restorative justice, a term you'll hear a lot about today, focuses on repairing the harm of any crime and on the needs of the victim and the offender. This kind of program has been found to be especially effective when it comes to juvenile offenders. As you can see, a lot of people have come together today to make this project work. With me are representatives from the many organizations and their leaders who believe in the concept of restorative justice. Here's how the program works. First, a qualified youth offender is selected to participate based on appropriate crimes such as battery, theft, domestic violence, vandalism, and several other types of cases. They're then prepared and put in a face-to-face meeting with the people they committed the crimes against, as well as with community stakeholders. A custom plan of action is designed for each minor, which helps them repair the harm that is done to the victim, to the family members, to the community, and to the offenders themselves. Plans might include community service, restitution, getting involved in after-school activities, counseling, or drug and alcohol classes. At the end of the process, the minor learns how what he or she did personally harmed the victim. And the victim understands what was happening in the youth offender's life at the time of the incident. During this process, community stakeholders and facilitators provide meaningful discussion, oversight, resources, and appropriate consequences for the minor. What's important to note is that holding youth offenders accountable doesn't always mean prosecuting them in the juvenile court and putting them into juvenile hall. providing second chances and opportunities for young people to learn from their mistakes is the whole premise of the juvenile justice system.
That's where we're at right now with the district attorney. We have MOU currently with district attorney's office, probation's office, public defender's office, sheriff's recently, San Diego Police Department, Mid-City Can, which Jim explained a little bit about it. There are advocacy program to move restorative justice through City Heights and other cities and make it an official policy. San Diego Youth Services, they provide us with counselors and mentors as well during the process. And San Diego Unified School District, along with San Diego School Police, have recently, just yesterday, we met with Chief Littlejohn to put together full training for their officers, because October 25th, they're going to be signing on to the MOU to be able to send us cases directly from them, from their offices, instead of sending them to probation. So immediately we can put them in a restorative justice process. And we have a representative here from San Diego School Police that will be talking about that. Already does this in the schools that he patrols. So this is kind of what we do it. So we do it obviously in a circle process. How many of you guys have done a circle before with nothing in the middle? Right. So how does that feel? Yeah, good, right? Yeah. So it brings open and honest conversation, nothing in the middle. You can either be wearing a uniform, you can be wearing a suit and tie, you can be made out of $1 million, or you can be made out of $1. It doesn't matter. It puts everybody in a neutral state, so that way we can have a true, honest conversation, right? So it can include everybody. This is the community. This is all the community right here, right? So you have the teachers, person harmed, caregivers, supporters, law enforcement. We bring them all in there to share their wisdom and experience, to have a really true, productive dialogue during that conference, right? And then, like Bonnie was saying, we have them, everybody there puts together an action plan, and a youth responsible has a say on what goes on the action plan. The person harmed has a say on what goes to the action plan. Everybody else except the facilitators, right? And then, so we'll get to the panel really quick, but something else the National Conflict Resolution Center does, we just opened the center down in Southeast. We also do RJ 101s. So I encourage you to go online to sign up to the RJ 101s. They're 4 hours. It's free for the community, anybody. And also we're doing community building circles. Same thing, that circle feeling, having an honest conversation about hot topics. With the El Cajon incident, right? We're having topics about say, sometimes police brutality, right? Also, we're having topics about conflicts within each other, right? The conflicts within the police enforcement too. You know, they need to vent in certain ways. Officers do, right? So we do community building circles. We invite community members to be in there. Everything's confidential. Everything's confidential within the program. District attorney or whoever the referring agency is, the only thing that they see back from us is a diploma that the youth have completed the program, and charges are dismissed. Right? Because they put full trust. It's our evaluation that we prove to them that it's working, right? So recidivism they want to see, right? So they want to see all those stats, and then to put their full trust. We also ask them to be involved in the cases as well. So again, National Conflict Resolution Center, go into the community services. Just had to throw this in there because I do facilitate those ones, and I want to see more of you guys in there. And also, we'll be having some, what do you call it, community building circles. We'll be adding into this section right there. You had a quick question?
Yeah, what is RJ 101? What does it cover?
So it covers the basics, the concept. It covers restorative practices in the schools, and then the difference, restorative community conferencing with the juvenile system. So all those, the juvenile system, schools, and just the basic concepts, right? And how you can use it at home with your friends, with your family, with your coworkers, with politicians. And so all of that, right? So I just want to, that was a little bit about, the context of a program, but this is really all about the participants, the community. So we have a great panel right here. If you guys don't mind just bringing your chairs right over here. And then we'll have them introduce themselves, and we'll just ask them a couple questions, and feel free to ask them a couple questions. We'll just talk a little bit about the experience of the conferences, how it was for you guys, and what you've learned, and what you're doing even in your respective fields as well. That's restorative, right? So, yeah, that's good. Is this movable? I hope it is. All right, so why don't you guys introduce yourself? What community you're from, and then what's your role? Right?
Hello, my name is Hector Sanchez, and I was in this program, what is it called again?
Restorative Community Conference.
Yeah, Restorative Community Conference, and I was
What community are you from?
from,
Community. What community are you from? Where are you from?
San Diego,
Barrio Logan. And
Barrio Logan, Showtown. And I was actually in a situation of graffiti. I was vandalizing property, and I actually was in this program, and it helped me a lot because I was actually in some programs that helped me out a lot, and I was actually helping a lot of programs, and I was helping youths like myself too, and then it was pretty cool because when I was in a circle with a bunch of people that was hearing my voice, I felt like it was pretty cool because there was actually people right there supporting me and giving me hope and stuff like that.
Who was at your conference?
There was a school counselor. His name is Mario. There was a graffiti artist, Sergio, and there was a lady from San Diego High, and there was a professional skateboarder, Shuriken Shannon, and that was a really cool experience because myself, I skate. I love skateboarding. That's like the best part of my life right there. And seeing a professional skateboarder in a circle and hearing my voice, it was pretty cool. It was an awesome experience.
So what have you learned, you think?
What I learned through the program is respect others, give back respect, and help others that need the help and get their voice to be heard.
Thank you, Victor. And I just want to give a shout out also to my friend Eric, way in the back. Wave your hand, come on. He has a black hat. That's Eric. He's going through the process right now, so big props to him right now. So, Officer Serrano?
Yes.
Feel free.
I'm going to go ahead and stand up here. I can't see in the back there. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for inviting me, Francisco, to this today. I was really excited to be here. I'm a police officer with San Diego Unified School District. I'm not new to law enforcement. I've only been with the district for about 3 years now, but I've been a police officer about 28 years. I was with San Diego Police Department for 16. I was a detective when I left, and I went to the district attorney's office as an investigator for about 10 years. So I consider myself semi-retired now, but decided to go back to work and give back to the community. So currently I'm at Crawford High School. Crawford is located in the Mid-City area. We have about 1,200 students there. Before that I was at Lincoln High School. I was there about a year and a half. I've been working with the schools quite closely in regards to the restorative justice process here. And I'll tell you folks, it's the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, this stuff really works. And I'm still learning every day about this process myself. I have applied it to all my incidents on campus. We had some incidents involving some racial type incidents, and then I had some other incidents, fights amongst some girls at a local park. We've done some of this conferencing on my campus, and it works. It really does. And I stand here before you to testify that it does. And I know sometimes some folks out there, they're kind of ambivalent. Well, what is this restorative justice stuff? Does it really work? Is it just a new fad? Is it just going to go away in a few years? No, I really disagree with that. It really does work. Like I said, I've been applying it at my school. And what I've seen is some of the benefits that some of these kids walk away with right here, that they walk away with a positive outlook into it. Now, yeah, of course, I can go in there, I can arrest, I can take care of business and put kids away in the hall and then just do my paperwork and go back to my office and go to the next call. I can do that, sure. That's actually easier for me to do that than to do the conferencing with the kids. But when I sit in a circle with these kids, with the family members, the teachers, the vice principals, the principals and probation officers, it's really, really great to walk away from that and really see the smile on the kid's face, and you just really feel as though their whole I guess their whole well-being is so much more positive. I don't feel that sometimes when I do take kids to the hall. I feel like, well, okay, you did a crime, you're going to sit in the hall and think about it, and that's it, pretty much. Unless I go to court or I have to testify, that's all I hear about it. I don't know what happens after that. But this whole process really, to me, is the wave of the future. So I don't want to take too much more of your time, but thanks.
So my name is Brian Taife, and I am actually a community member in this program, and I work with the youth offenders. I have kind of an interesting way I got into this program, actually. I was part of a restorative justice circle several years ago as the offender. I was involved in a bar fight. And what happened there was a fight occurs, and both parties, winner, loser, walk away, still unhappy, still nothing gets resolved. It goes through the criminal justice system, and really there is no resolution. Both parties are still feeling angry. And luckily, the district attorney's office stepped in, and they saw that this was potentially a big misunderstanding. So I actually got a chance to sit down with the person I got in a fight with, and we talked, and it made a huge difference because he walked away still very unhappy. I was unhappy. We got to sit down, and we realized it was a big misunderstanding, and there was actually a lot of healing. And I kind of walked in there thinking maybe it was kind of like a hippie thing, like, oh, we're just going to cry about it or something. But, it was it was actually really impactful. And it did make such an impact on me that after I was done with the whole program, I decided that it'd be a good use of my time to actually volunteer and try to do something to help support these types of programs. And so now I'm involved with Francisco and actually working in these circles, and having experience sitting as the offender side, I do have kind of a perspective to help these kids out. And I think that in the way that they've got this set up is actually even better than the process I went through in Colorado, where it happened through the criminal justice system. This is averting it. And I just have to say that the circle I sat in, the youth offender I worked with, it was a family domestic issue that kind of rose to proportions that got escalated unnecessarily, and he could have had a lot of charges placed on him. And he was 16. Instead, he is now doing really well in school. He learned, his parents actually learned a lot too. And this is something I think that maybe hasn't been captured as much, is that the home situation was kind of broken and they were having some issues. And this was actually an opportunity for mom and dad to actually, for first time in several years, to actually sit in a civil conversation and talk. And they realized that their issues were spilling over into their children. And that, I think, actually helped him start doing better in school because the parents were starting to respect each other. He got to finally voice, I don't like how, Mom, you talk about that. Dad, I don't like how you do this. And it was like a safe zone for him to do that. And so by allowing the parents to kind of actually play more of a central role in this, it helped him. He's doing better in school. And as I said, it did change, I think, his perception a little bit of his parents. And so not only is it helping avert, going through the criminal justice process, it actually can help some home situations. And so that was something that I learned actually from this current program that I just think is a very valuable asset that I think people should also think about and consider as a way to get a whole family involved in something. So, yeah.
All right. Well, Francisco has given me, thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Francisco's given me a challenge to condense my experiences into, 2 minutes? It's going to be a challenge. Well, my story is from, I call it from delinquent to dean. And I like that, huh? From delinquent to dean. I was a product of the juvenile justice system in New Jersey. I remember his name is Judge Muller, and that was the beginnings of a process that would later become what's called now restorative justice officially. But I remember he'd seen me for marijuana selling. He didn't see me for the stealing cars, but he also saw me for at 17 and 3 months when I was brought into his courtroom for trafficking. And he said, for you, Mr. Monroy, which is my name, Rafael Monroy, never been called Mr. Monroy before by any teacher, anyone. It took a juvenile court judge to call me Mr. Monroy. He said, for you, Mr. Monroy, college is not an option, for I've only seen you graduate in crime but not in academics. So choose your branch of the military or serve out the rest of your sentence in county jail. I was 17 and 3 months, I believe then. No, I was 17 and 8 months and weighed about 127 pounds, so I wasn't about to go to county jail. So fortunately, I had an uncle who served in Nam, and you know, when he came home, there was always like big welcoming, so I said, well, I'll take the Marine Corps. And then, thank you, Semper Fi, hoorah. All right. And then Judge Muller told me, he said, your conditions for probation is to see you back in my courtroom in uniform. I try not to get emotional at this point. That was his conditions. It wasn't coming to see him for 3, 4, 5 years with a probation officer or whatever. He knew that if I was able to do that, my life had a great opportunity to turn, and so it did. I came back after boot camp, showed up to his chambers, I believe, in uniform. He shook my hand, and he said, thank you, Marine, and he shipped me off. I later came to find out that Judge Muller had done this for many, many other youth, not just myself. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, so you know what kind of a neighborhood that was. I'm going to fast forward to a gentleman named Azim Camisa and Plus Felix. Are you guys familiar with that? Now, I fast forwarded quite a bit. I'm 55, so I was a lot fast forwarding. Azim and I and Plez met on a stage one time at the SCPA where Nancy Grace was doing a special on folks that were making a difference in San Diego. I had just been through a process with a gentleman named Jonathan Friedman, who was a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist who did a documentary on the work that I was doing with some of the juvenile kids in San Diego City schools. If you know that it's not about my story, but it's about Plez and Felix. Tony Hicks, that name sounds familiar to some of you, but this was a man whose, Tony Hicks was killed his son, who during gang initiation, I know many of you have heard the story. I know the story personal because, I mean, I've been there with Azim. More than likely, I'll be going to his Tony's parole hearing next year. And we hope to see if we can continue the story of Plez and Tony. Then I'm going to fast forward to Francisco and the R-Jump program, because this is when I really became involved. And I know my 2 minutes are ticking, but I think Francisco's going to give me a little bit of time now. But when I met Francisco, he got me involved with the R-Jump program. I knew about restorative justice because in some kind of a vague way, it wasn't normally formed. But then I went to a meeting that they had in City Heights, and when I heard from youth and the work that's being done in this area, I said, wow, you know what? We have definitely come a long way from the humble beginnings of the thought of, you know, restorative justice. And I really want to give him a lot of thanks. It's because of him that I'm standing here as well before you guys. The Circles of Healing, I know that works very well. I have a brother back here, raise your hand, who we do a lot of the work with some of the youth out there. And again, like I said, in the circle, it doesn't matter whether you're a lawyer, politician, or a criminal that just got out. We're sitting in a big circle and we're speaking our hearts. And that's where it begins to heal. So I know I fast forwarded a lot, and I hope to be able to end this with, as a community member, the part that I play in the whole restorative justice process, because I feel as a community member who has traveled that long road, okay, who's being a dean of students at a charter school for kids who are very, very challenging, okay? I've seen how restorative justice works. It heals communities. The punitive process, often it's a win-lose type of a formula. Somebody has to lose in order for others to win. The restorative justice, everybody wins. And people regain their self-worth. So no longer do they come out of the system, no longer do they come out of a process still feeling like a criminal, like I've done something wrong. Okay, I sat in a cell or I did something, but I'm still a quote-unquote criminal. But the restorative justice process gives you the ability to give back to that community and to regain your self-worth, okay? Just as I have. So I just want to say thank you to everyone here who's here to promote this, and thank you for Francisco, thank you for our panel, and thank you for the young man that's in the back, because I was fortunate enough to be in one of the many circles that we have. Thanks.
Thanks so much. And like he said, it's about the community. Everybody here, every single one of you has a story to tell, right? And that story can be told to somebody who's troubled at the moment, right? Every single one. Think about those passions, right, that I asked about. So you like football, you like this, you like that, you like that. Use that when you're conversating with a youth, right? So don't start with what you do, what you did wrong, this and that. No, what do you love? What do you love to do? What's your strength? Sometimes they've never been asked that question, right? How many of you guys had a male role model growing up? Look at the hands that are up and look at the hands that are down, right? That's the truth. And that's the truth with our youth everywhere, right? So keep that in mind. Again, thank you to our panel. We'll probably have questions, maybe 2 questions? Okay, so anybody have any questions for the panel, myself, please feel free.
Anybody remember Phil Donahue? Okay, here we go. Just like Phil.
What?
You have a question, didn't you raise your hand?
You just said, does anybody remember Phil?
So the answer is,
She remembers him.
that was a quick
All
question.
right.
Anybody else?
Does,
Phil Donahue. What an idiot I am.
we have one back there and then one over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Phil. I'm just curious, with the court system that seems to be so jammed up, and with judges and prosecutors really trying to push cases through, where are the judges standing in this? Are they cooperating? Are they on board with this? And how do we make that better with them?
Actually, believe it or not, judges are more aware of restorative justice sometimes than the lawyers themselves. So if they see that the needs, it's about having a voice, giving the voice to the person harmed as well as the youth responsible, they are helping us make sure we get those post-charge cases. Of course, we want them pre-charge, right, before they're actually in the system, because it becomes more traumatic after that. But the judges, public defender's office, they're aware of the program and how the needs are being met through this process. So they're in support, and we do see some pushback sometimes also, right? This program could work with first offenders, but it actually has shown to work even better with second offenders too. So they're aware, because they're able to differentiate the systems, right, or the process. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Through the program, is there somebody pulled in then as a facilitator of this forum, and is there training for facilitators?
Yeah, and I believe we're going to hear from RJump, because actually ourselves, our first time getting the training was through RJump. And also what we're doing is that we're creating also a facilitator, supporter. I think that's where we actually met the first time, was a supporter training. We haven't had another one where we explain the skills, the basic skills of facilitation, so that way we can invite the community members to actually co-facilitate the conferences and the cases. So, and we always have more information on the opportunities in the RJ 101s. Yeah.
And you'll have time to talk with and meet with these folks during lunch.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you very much.